For the first time in 3 years, Queen's Park Rangers are in the hat for the second round of the League Cup, courtesy of Tuesday night's 2-1 away win at Cambridge United. There were a few really positive displays here from the likes of Liam Morrison, Alfie Lloyd and Mickey Frey, but like Saturday, this was another tricky watch with the U's totally dominating that second half and several point-blank saves from Joe Walsh really being the only thing stopping this one from going to pens. We're through though, so that's all that matters. So as usual, let's break down this performance and talk through what went well and what went not so well in round one. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Tuesday morning couldn't have started any better really, with QPR announcing the double signing of wingers Karamoko Dembele and Koki Saito. Much needed attacking reinforcements who will hopefully be ready to be involved for Saturday's trip away to Sheffield United. I posted a transfer deep dive on Dembele yesterday on the channel, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribed as well to be notified when my Saito video drops later this week. The news of our latest additions definitely put a much needed spring in the steps of the 1018 travelling R's after Saturday's tough start in the league, and I was further buoyed by Marty naming a pretty strong starting 11 as I'd hoped and expected. We saw two changes at the back with Joe Walsh coming in for Paul Nardi and Liam Morrison for Steve Cook, two changes in the middle with Dixon Bonner and Varane replacing the Colback field double pivot, and two changes in attack with Alfie Lloyd earning a first start in place of Colley and Mickey Frey swapping in for Sella. The opening 13 minutes leading to Frey's goal were pretty balanced, but QPR were the more threatening side and we showed flashes of quality. Jimmy Dunn had an early opportunity to head in Lucas Anderson's free kick delivery, but headed wide of the top right corner, and after weathering some breaks down the wing from 19-year-old Dan Barton, Elijah Dixon-Bonner spurned a golden opportunity in the box with a weak shot. A few QPR players stood out to me in these opening minutes. Liam Morrison looked calm, confident and collected at the back with some strong passes reminiscent of an early Rob Dickie, and barely put a foot wrong in the first half. Varane once again showcased some strong tackles, demanded the ball and initially linked well with the backline. Alfie Lloyd was eager to impress, making several runs on half balls down the left and linking really well with Frey, who was the sharpest I've seen him in a long while. And the excellent QPR team goal that opened the scoring on 13 minutes was a product of these initially bright displays. Jake Clark-Salter passed out to Dixon Bonner on the wing, who zigzagged with a nice 1-2 to Frey, who had received the message to drop deep. Anderson was the next recipient, who inched the ball onto Lloyd, who had dropped inside, and he neatly placed it for Frey on the edge of the box, who produced an excellent driven finish into the bottom left corner. It was beautiful to watch, and I imagine this is exactly the type of football Marty is looking to see this season. But unfortunately, it never happened again, and much like Saturday, soon after the goal we regressed. We did have a couple of chances soon after going one up, another limp shot from Dixon Bonner and an ambitiously high effort from Varane outside the box, but from 23 minutes when Dan Barton rattled the right post with his own effort outside our box, we became sloppy and stopped creating chances. It was strange to watch. I don't know if it's complacency, this team still gelling, or an arrogance that we're 1-0 up against Cambridge and so jobs are good in, but we started to fall apart. And it was in the small details, particularly our passing with mishits from Clark-Salter, Varane and Anderson gifting Cambridge chances to get back into the game, and they were trying to take them, pinning us in with corner after corner on the half-hour mark to test the mettle of our new centre-back pairing. As a side note, one thing I found really strange at this point was that when defending these corners, every single QPR player was inside our own box. No one outside waiting for the break, and it showed because every time we cleared it, the ball just went straight back to Cambridge. If it was later in the game or higher than 1-0, I might have understood, but I thought this was really strange so early in. It led to a nervy flurry of headers that nearly saw forward Joku get on the score sheet, but Joe Walsh produced a superb point-blank save to maintain the lead. And what a relief then that on 36 minutes, QPR rather undeservedly doubled their lead. An ambitious long throw from Jimmy down the right initially looked well over place, but Smith burnt his man for pace and collected it in behind. Keeper Stevens misread the situation and found himself rounded, allowing Paul to slot it into an empty net and free to somersault off into the car park. That second goal took the sting out of the game a little bit and allowed us to cruise safely towards half-time, but not before Anderson picked up a needless yellow for committing assault on Brophy. That saw the Dane the soul change at the break, with Sam Field taking his place next to Varane and in theory pushing Dixon Bonner into the 10. And this is where things really started to fall apart. Elijah's involvement in Frey's goal and some early link-ups with Powell down the left showcase what he can do when he's looking to make incisive, creative passes. But as an overall midfielder, particularly defensively next to Varane in that first half, he was miles off the mark yesterday. I'm sorry to say, but there were shades of Dazelle here, straying from his mark, hiding, shrinking away from the ball. It saw him not only fail to take some really good opportunities attacking wise, but he also contributed to an incredibly weak midfield that Cambridge absolutely tore through in the second half. Frey's shot from the right hand side of the box a minute into the second period, narrowly missing the mark to the left of the post, was about our best effort of finding a third. And from then on we became stodgy, we found it hard to progress, and Cambridge continually broke through our middle. Samfield too looked uncharacteristically off colour. I wasn't particularly impressed on Saturday, but at least he got about the pitch then. Here he just looked cumbersome, falling onto the ball and in front of our box, twice gifting Cambridge chances to score. I do wonder if this is a fitness thing given his injury during pre-season, but boy did it leave us open in the middle. These mistakes and this increased pressure from Cambridge were only going to lead to one thing. I have to say they produced some lovely passing moves in the middle to take our players completely out of the game, particularly down our once again weak right hand side who really struggled to cope with Barton. And of course that one thing did come on 56 minutes, not by Cambridge's design, but from a poor pass out the back from Walsh, sprung upon by Paul Digby and mercilessly buried into the bottom right corner. And at this point we were all thinking it, we've seen this one before, see you at the end of a penalty shootout loss. So Marty resorted to the bench to try and sort things out, Santos on for Varane and Dykes on for Smith. Redknapp had been on the phone and it was time for 3-5-2. But that shape didn't really work either. Linden was dropping into midfield, there were some occasionally tidy moves with Morrison fizzing a few nice long low balls into the middle to try and make something happen. But for every positive move forward we took two back, losing the ball and inviting pressure. Cambridge unlocked us a couple more times for good measure, and Walsh did well to redeem himself with multiple point blank saves once again. He was really the only thing here stopping this one from going to 2-2 or even 3-2, they had that many chances. So well done to Joe for not dropping his head after that earlier mistake. Luck was on our side though, especially the second time Cambridge hit the woodwork after a powerful strike from Lavery, and we gritted it out. Two more subs, Benny for Lloyd, who had continued to work his socks off down that left wing and was one of the few who could leave the pitch with his head held high, and Seller on for Frey. But neither of these subs really helped matters. Benny had a hard time reading the game, while Seller struggled to get a touch of the ball again ahead of a game of ping pong happening in front of our box. Somehow though, after 4 minutes of added time, we made it out alive and into the second round of the League Cup. It was, to be honest, a really weird match. Early signs were so promising, and if we continued that kind of rhythm and that kind of confidence, I think we could have scored 4, but instead we became insular and unsure of ourselves, and it's a really hard thing to work out. It's still too early really to say whether this is a lack of fitness, confidence or ability, because the team goal for Frey's opener shows what this team can do when it clicks. All that matters ultimately is that we got the win, not only keeping us in this competition, but helping ease some of our demons from Saturday, even if it did wake a few new ones. I do truly believe there were some positives here. Morrison was my man of the match. He looks every bit the Cook or Jake Clark-Salter successor will need him to be in the coming year. Varane started positively. Once he's up to full fitness and the pace of English football, I think he should really level up this midfield. And Frey got off the mark and is looking the sharpest he has so far at QPR. And reassuringly, Karamoko Dembele was warming up on the pitch straight after the match, so that gives some hope that both he and Saito will be involved on Saturday for what looks to be a very tough visit to Sheffield United. Most positively although, in my second match preview of the season, I predicted the score right with 2-1, so every silver lining. Anyway, that's enough from me. What did you make of this performance? Do let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video for my Sheffield United match preview. Cheers!